Saving lives
Saving
cannot be
lives
boring
cannot
at
be
ever.
boring at ever. Wow, wow. You couldn't have put it more beautifully than that. So, my first question to you, and for a lot of our listeners that are here, it's not possible to summarize your body of work. But in a nutshell, if I may, you're one of the only Indian surgeons to have demonstrated live surgery in almost every Asian country. Till date, you've performed the largest number of single incision sleeve gastrectomy surgeries in the world. Wow, that's a heavy word. And you are the first surgeon to conduct laparoscopic gastric bypass in India, and so many more accomplishments. Wow. What have these experiences been like? And in a nutshell, the challenges you faced?
So the only thing is that right now it pales
It
into insignificance as to
pales
what I've
into
done.
insignificance as to what I've done.
Nothing ever that I've achieved
Nothing ever that I've achieved has.
Yeah, so it's been great because we've gone out and reached out to the poorest of the poor. At one point of time, Worli was like a hotbed. We had the maximum number of cases in the world, probably in India. Not in the world, but in India. And today, we managed to control it completely.
Wow.
And save. So we've had almost like a discharge rate of 74%.
Wow. So reassuring.
As far as what I used to do and what I intend to do in the future, once COVID gets over,
is that
go back to the surgery I used to do.
I used to do.
I used to do a lot more bariatric surgery. I used to do a lot of laparoscopic cancer surgery. So, yes, demonstrating across the world has always been a challenge. It's like the first time I ever demonstrated live abroad was probably the fattest man in Asia at that time. This was around 15 years back when we operated on someone who was 275 kilos.
Oh my God.
So it was funny because the language was the barrier. I was in Tianjin, in one place called China. And I tried to explain to them, and the guy who was translating the language took a little grief and some time. Eventually, the camera would move. As you know, in laparoscopic surgery, the camera man is the most important. And eventually, I started talking Marathi because it didn't really make any difference what I spoke.
Did the translator at least know them?
It didn't matter.
Oh my God. Wow. I wish you had a video of that.
Yeah, because it was it was filmed because it was like a fish market because he was the heaviest man in Asia at that time. And it was every press guy in China was inside the theater. And they talked quite loudly. So it was there was back and forth in Mandarin, and I didn't understand anything. So
I can't even imagine. What did that case turn out like then? What happened post the surgery?
It was quite funny because they had. I asked them eventually, like, what happens if this guy dies or something happens?
Yeah.
So they just said that the custom in China is that if something happens, then they don't allow the doctor to leave. The whole village comes and does not.
Was that your last surgery there?
No, actually, I've gone back and operated many more times there.
And all successfully, I'm sure. That's why you're back here. That is crazy. I'm sure there must be like so many more experiences like that. But I'm so glad you put such a light undertone to something which could have been very grave at that time, to say the least.
No, because you spoke about scarless surgery and single incision surgery. And that's where I operate through the navel. So we've done some of the largest surgeries in the world. Because in India, there's a concept of trying to hide the surgery for unmarried girls. So that's how we hit upon this, and I started operating through the navel to try and hide the scar. And I remember I was in Napoli, and I happened to operate on a lady. And later I came to know it was the mafia don's daughter.
Oh my
So
God.
I've had all these experiences.
There must be. We need to do one live with you one day, along with absolutely no time limit, only to hear all these lovely stories. We can make a show on this.
I was wishing I was on the next flight out.
I can imagine. Of course you would, Doctor. Wow. So you've really been you've really seen it all, but now what you're doing is a whole different scene altogether. On the front line.
It's uncharted territory, right?
Yes.
Most of the times you're operating and you hope the patient does well, or you fear for your life. But this time, even when you're out in the front, you have to be really careful that you save yourself, because when I got into this whole battle, I said first things first. What I need to do is save my healthcare workers. And I said that once I manage to save them, then probably I would be the first one to get infected. So with the last 3 months, what we managed is that not one of our healthcare workers has got infected.
So you've actually been, you've been managing to provide safety to all the doctors, procuring PPE kits, equipments, not just make sure you're safe, but every single one on the front line. So tell us about that whole process, the challenges.
See, we had to use technology. Yeah, because this war cannot be won on conventional fronts. So we had a lot of people who came in, and every time a healthcare worker would go, whatever PP level you did, there would always be a theoretical chance of getting infected. And if one healthcare worker got infected, then the morale of everybody around would come down. So my motto to the whole thing was, let's protect ourselves first, because then we'll be able to protect more and more people. So I came out with concepts like contactless clinics and stuff like that. So the doctor wouldn't come in direct contact with the patient. And what happened is that with this entire technology, when someone spoke to a patient in a hazmat suit, it was very intimidating. And when you wear a hazmat suit for any length of time, it's not comfortable at all. You perspire, your screen starts fogging, or your glasses start fogging. You're not very comfortable. The patient doesn't know who you are, what he's talking. So with these contactless clinics, at least he could see a doctor face to face. He would talk on a phone, and we would be all comfortable.
So sorry. Yeah, I just need to connect to a headphone because I'm getting a feedback that my sound isn't clear. So I was just trying to do that, but I'm all here.
Yeah, no, I think there's a lag.
Yeah.
I can hear a lag.
Oh, is it? This would be better. Okay. So yes, like they say, in case of an emergency, you wear the oxygen mask first. So it's very important that you and your team stay protected. And would you say that, thankfully, all your efforts have been successful in that?
Yeah, so we've managed to at least keep our healthcare workers from getting infected. The only thing is we keep them almost in some sort of a jail. So once you come in, then we don't allow you to meet too many people from outside, because you don't know who's spreading the infection. Most of the infections are spread by asymptomatic carriers, right? 80 to 85% of people are asymptomatic.
Yes, absolutely, which is what I think makes it, something to really dread and create so much fear in everyone. But I think that is the nature of this, and we're going to have to deal with it for as long as we have to. You, doctor, actually came up with the concept of modular ICU pods. Can you guide us through that, please?
So, I came and took over NSCI, right?
Right.
NSCI was a rock concert venue we've all gone and attended concerts there. There've been various things
Yes.
out over there, gigs and
Yes.
stuff like that. So what
Yes.
we did is that we had to build up an ICU. So we went on from, there was a concept called CCC2 facility, COVID Care Facility 2, where you only
Right.
treated the asymptomatic or the mildly symptomatic patients initially. But I was just not satisfied with that. So then I said, I took all cancer patients, because cancer patients no one was ready to take at that point of time. So I tied up with Tata Hospital and took them on. The next thing is we took pregnant ladies, because there was nowhere for pregnant ladies to go. Yeah. Another third
Right.
thing we started was a concept called holding cell, because either you had to be positive or negative. And if you were neither positive nor negative and suspect, then there was really no hospital in Mumbai that was really ready to treat you. And that was a big for, let's say, hanging on the road, looking for a hospital, not getting a ventilator, or just looking for a ventilator when they didn't need a ventilator, and dying in ambulances and on the road. So we've treated actually really wealthy people who could probably afford a suite in a private hospital but not getting one. We've taken them into our holding cell, put them on oxygen, and we've actually saved their lives. After 2 days, they get their fancy rooms and they go off to the private hospital. But the ones who actually saved their life was this small little holding cell in NSCI. The next thing we did was that we had to get into a DCH, or a dedicated COVID hospital. And for that, we needed ICUs. Okay. Now, there was no way to build an ICU inside Dome. So I thought of a concept of setting up ICUs in containers. So there are shipping containers, which were 20 feet by 12 feet, were converted into an actual ICU. And we've equipped it as good as any other private hospital does. We also have negative isolation. So it's a step better than probably some of the private hospitals, because with negative isolation, the viral load really comes down. It's got the best of equipment that there is. We are also doing remote monitoring. So the big challenge, even in private hospitals today, is that there aren't enough doctors, there aren't enough nurses, right? So you have someone coming once in a while and taking rounds and going away. You've seen horrid videos in public hospitals and stuff like that, which is not really the fault of the doctors or the residents. They're just so overwhelmed with this pandemic. There's just so many patients and so understaffed that it's really difficult to prevent one of those. But I feel for them sometimes. So what we've done is we've taken the entire concept away and we've started doing remote monitoring. So again, technology has come to our rescue. We actually monitor all these patients from the comfort of an AC room. The live tracings, everything comes there. And if a patient is not doing well, alarm goes off, and the team which is sitting close by will rush in and do whatever needs to be done to save that patient. But they're not in close proximity with this patient. So by almost halving the number of staff we need, we can monitor them very, very safely. That's the concept that we've done.
This is absolutely commendable. Look at the kind of comments that are coming. Wow, everyone is super, super impressed. There are just no words to describe the kind of work y'all are doing. In this whole process, you've also very closely been associated, Doctor, with the Municipal Corporation and Aditya Thackeray. Very crucial, in fact, your whole entire association with them through all of this. Some insights on that, please.
So I was really scared joining up with the Bombay Municipal Corporation, right? I've been a guy who's always worked in private, often being tagged as very expensive as a surgeon and stuff like that. And now I was here probably putting in everything that I had. At least initially, I put in everything that I had financially to start this project because there were no backers. I started with 7 doctors, out of which 1 was a surgeon, 1 was an intern, and 4 were voluntary physiotherapists. And I had 24 nurses who were 4th-year students of nursing. So I didn't have the might of any hospital backing me or anything. And we started this and we had to manage 500 patients. So that's where I thought of technology and how to match the numbers to get there. Once this hit off and technology started, luckily for us, Aditya came on board and he's been a great help. And Mr. Sharad Hugre, who's the municipal commissioner from G South Ward, he was again a great help. So I loved working with these 2 gentlemen. And then everyone started adding on, so it's like once some area got famous, suddenly everyone started coming in, and then we started getting the donors, and everybody came on. So we were lucky to say that everybody started. It's like what do you call it? That famous has many fathers, or famous fame brings you lots of others and stuff like that, something like that. But we were lucky and we managed to do a lot because that was one of the first jumbo facilities that came up in Bombay. And then it spun off into having many, many more jumbo facilities. So the whole concept is now caught on in Delhi as well. And you heard the Honorable Home Minister, Mr. Shah, say actually that they're going to use cameras in their hospitals also to monitor remotely.
Wow.
So it's been good. Now with the ICUs, again, we've added one more feather in our cap. So we're going well. We're going to soon come up with something even more dramatic. So we're going to get a portable ICU again, a portable operations theater in a container. So,
oh my God.
So my concept is that if whenever this COVID starts running out of steam, you're going to have most of your streamlined hospitals saying, we are going to operate on your non-COVID people, right? The moment you turn COVID, where else do you go? Because all your hospitals, everything have got centralized air conditioning systems and there aren't any negative isolation standalone. So maybe these containers will really help and we'll be able to save lives of COVID patients who need emergency surgeries even then.
Wow. I mean, I don't know what to say. This is absolutely amazing. In fact, I think it's so humble of you that you say you've been lucky. I think, you really don't take enough credit for all that, the kind of work that you're putting out there. And I think a lot of these things were probably the inevitable change, but this whole situation of coronavirus has just fast-tracked a lot of the inevitable change. And it's just so nice to see how you all are working so hard. Okay, doctor, a very important question. With the WhatsApp and with social media, everyone's a doctor now. So we really need to know from you about all the false news that comes. Please bust the myths that really need to be right now.
I wish that I was a Google doctor because then I'd be more famous than an actual doctor.
I agree. True.
Because everyone picks up so much knowledge on Google nowadays than we've picked up over years and years of studying in books. Yeah. We actually have to sometimes relearn our medicine only to try and explain some of the questions that people come up with. For example,
the questions,
COVID.
Yes. Yeah.
COVID is something which has brought to the fore this entire urgency and need for media to catch on to any drug which is available, right?
Absolutely.
It's out there. Companies are making hell of a lot of money on selling drugs which might not even be effective. Okay. Most research and most phase 1, phase 2, phase 3 trials actually go through years, right? For example, I'll tell you the case of a vaccine, right? Right from the AIDS epidemic to the MERS and the SARS, we've still not found a vaccine. Yeah. But every time something new comes up in Corona, found a vaccine cured. One patient tried out over there in France or in Italy. And that's frontline media news. It's not ready for prime time. I don't think media should cover it that way. Because every patient then jumps onto the bandwagon without knowing it's not effective. I just saw a news article 2 days back that now we've got a great yoga guru also has found a cure. I think we doctors are really stupid people. We can't seem to find cures, but everybody else seems to find a cure.
I know, I agree. I think this, everyone just wants to hear that one fine morning you wake up and there, you found the cure and Corona is just a bad dream that we can look back at. And just, the number of people that want to wake up to and just hear that one morning makes this a huge TRP churner. So I'm not justifying what they do, but yes, please continue to bust these myths because it's very important to hear it from you.
I think, for example, something like, that this whole on and on time and again, right? Whether we should use it, not use it. ICMR says use it. The World Organization said don't use it. And then we realized that probably some of these studies were done because of vested interests in certain other things. So I think you have to be a little careful when frontline or primetime news channels report about medical research without doctors actually going through the data and what is out there.
Yeah, absolutely. There's a huge sense of responsibility that needs to accompany something like that.
But just some time back, you gave me a lot of credit for what I've done. I've been a cricketer in the past and all that. So if your team's not good enough, then the captain's of no use. Yeah. So I think my team deserves all. No, the team deserves a lot of credit. Actually, the maximum credit I think should go to these young nursing girls. They go in every single day for hours, sometimes 6 hours, sometimes 8 hours, wearing those hazmat suits and being there in front of the patients, even if it
Absolutely.
great that they are doing. So they deserve a lot of,
Absolutely.
even the
They
people who are
deserve a
cleaning
lot
the
of credit.
bathrooms and toilets, they deserve a lot of credit.
True. True, absolutely. Maybe not the right context, but as actors, we've also worn a lot of heavy costumes with some prosthetic makeup and all sorts of very heavy mythological roles and all. But we complain about, oh, we can't drink, we have to drink water from a straw when we've got prosthetic makeup on and we got. But after this, you see the kind of work they're putting out there, and you cannot complain about how they must be working in that entire PPE. It's just absolutely incredible. Okay. Doctor, coming to our next question, and I hope this is just another Dr. Google idea, but it's there in everyone's mind, and we need to know from you this whole fear about the second wave. How do we prevent that? Is it something that we need to, be ready for?
I think it's misplaced. In my opinion, it's misplaced. No place in the world has seen it. I think the fear around this virus is just so high that the people talk about this second wave. I think politicians and stuff like that have used this terminology so that it prevents people from just going out and being carefree, leaving all caution to the winds. So I think they're trying to tell people that please be careful even when you go out, when the city opens up, when we relive again. We'll have to be careful. One thing that is for sure is that medicine has completely changed. It has changed forever. You are never going to be able to see a patient with gay abandon. You will be careful because you are the ones who are going to be exposed first. Next time someone comes with a cough, cold, fever, I think the doctor will probably put his face screen on, will probably keep a distance and stuff like that. So I think a lot has changed. World will change. I don't know whether we'll be able to travel as normally as ever because I don't know whether the vaccine will come. Everyone's saying sometime mid next year. If the virus changes configuration, we don't know whether that will ever work as well.
Absolutely. You said in the beginning of this interview that you're a doctor, so you're privileged, you actually are allowed to go out and work. But for most people, the lockdown, which we shouldn't probably be complaining about because we're at home not doing as, hard, the kind of hard work that you all are doing. But even for this lockdown, there have been a lot of issues with dealing with the whole ambiguity and the length of how long our lives are going to change for and we're going to be cooped up. So a little insight from you to all our viewers about how to deal with this new normal of just being home more than we ever have before.
I think a lot of the greats of the world, so someone like Mr. Ratan Tata had said that forget about profits, forget about everything. If you survive 2020, that's a bonus. I don't know whether Jack Ma said it, whether Ratan Tata said it, who said it, but they are both great anyways. So, so that's for me. 2020 is all about survival. It's not about what you can do, what you could have done, what you couldn't have done. There are many, many more people who have lost life without actually being a part of it. It's something like the Indo-China conflict, right? 20 young guys have lost their life for no fault of theirs. The same way, so many young people have died. So many grandkids might never see their grandchildren because of this pandemic. So I think something that needs to be taken with a somber attitude and stuff like that might teach us that maybe we should look at healthcare much more importantly than we do currently, at least from the government standpoint. We should invest much more into public health. I do understand we have to invest a lot of money in other things, but government should wake up, smell the coffee and say, our government healthcare needs to change completely. For example, there's one private guy who's come up and set up your NSCI, which has got a 74% discharge rate. There has to be something. There have to be many more public-private partnerships because I think private sector has got something much, much more to offer. We are probably not as jaded as some of the government healthcare structures. And that's the freshness that we need to inject back into our government healthcare. So get people who are volunteering, get people and do many more of these partnerships, get technology to be at the very helm of the way we treat our patients. I think we'll change the world.
So true, doctor. But now tell us something about your daily routine and what measures are you taking to actually be safe through all of this?
I wish I can lie and say I sleep well, I hydrate myself well, and I have enough of time to sleep. Actually, I've probably slept for 4 hours or 5 hours every day, that too interspersed for the last 3 months. I've had calls at 2:30 in the morning, 3:30 in the morning. And I can say that even Aditya calls me at 2:33 that some patient stranded somewhere. He'll probably tweet back a reply and I would have to reply back again in a very short period of time. So that's how active our current level of politicians are. The other good thing about working with someone like him is he's a young guy and he understands technology. He reads a lot. So it's great working on some of these out of the box ideas with him. And he backs you and you need that kind of backing from the top leadership. And so that's why we've been able to do well, I think, on that front. So don't listen to me as to how you should go through a pandemic. I've not done the right things. But I've used ultimate precaution. So every other day I've had someone, maybe a police officer or a municipal officer sitting next to me. And after 2 days, he sends me a message that he's turned positive. So if your fear is and stigmatization is that, oh my God, I was sitting next to someone who was COVID positive. Trust me, in 3 months, I just got myself tested the day before. I'm still negative. So if the fear is that you become positive just because you sat next to someone who was COVID positive, then I should have been positive many, many, many times before. Yeah.
Right. So, but one is hearing a lot about, how we can take a lot more care. There are a lot more disinfectants now, and we're hearing some really good things about slipper rocks as well. So, something from you for all our viewers about, the choices we can make in this regard.
So, slipper rocks is something I just got to use recently. I used it at our ICUs to disinfect the ICUs. It's good. It's got silver. And it kind of vaporizes where it turns into oxygen, so it doesn't leave the nascent black residues of silver. So I think it's something good that we should look at. We should look at many, many more things that can kill viruses. We'll have to get stuff out over there that is not harmful to us when we touch it, when we breathe it, and when we smell it. At the same time, it disinfects most surfaces because this is here to stay. We'll have to learn how to live with corona for at least another 6 months to a year of our lives, if not longer. So if these disinfectants come into vogue and if they are effective in the long term and they are less harmful to us in terms of what we breathe or what we touch, then I think it's here to stay.
That's very informative. Like you were saying in the beginning that you can't wait to get back to the surgeries that you used to do. But then again, you said it's here for us to stay. Corona's here 6 months, a year, and maybe even longer. So when do you see yourself getting back to what you used to do best?
The funny thing is that I had to take a break just very suddenly from NSCI duties. Just yesterday, I was yanked out of my slumber of being an NSCI. I think my wife just delivered twins. And
congratulations.
Thank you.
Wow.
Thank you.
Wow,
so they came
amazing.
much earlier. So I was pulled out and that's why I did my test yesterday. So I've still not managed to hug my kids, but that's just how it is.
Wow, Doctor, there are no words to actually, really thank you from everyone's side in the city, in the country for the kind of work you're putting out there. And really congratulations to you and your family. I hope you can really enjoy your babies soon. And it's just been amazing having you on board. And we hope to speak to you really, really soon.
Thanks. I think a lot of credit to my wife and my son that they tolerated my absence for 3 months. They're in the most probably difficult time when you're emotionally so labile. I think they. So I should say thank you to them.
Doctor, before I sign off, someone's asking us. Mr. Riaz is asking us, Dr. Muffi, are you in some capacity influencing the government to build better medical facilities for Indians?
I don't know. I'll probably go back to my life soon. But if they do ask me for my advice, I'll always be around.
How nice. We can't thank you enough for joining us today. And I really hope to speak to you very, very soon. Thank you so much,
Thank you. Thank you. Stay safe. Yeah. Bye-bye.
You too. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.